Christina Woodle with Kansas City Functional Medicine, and I'm here to talk about ADHD. We see a lot of parents and a lot of kids come in that have questions and concerns about kids that are having difficulties paying attention or maybe have been diagnosed with ADHD, and parents don't know where to start. They don't want to give their child a medication that might cause them to be sedated, and they just want to figure out what the root problem is. Well, one thing that we can do is we can test. A lot of research out there is showing that there's a link between nutritional deficiencies of certain nutrients, which we all know our kids, the picky eater, the one that doesn't like to eat anything that we want them to eat, is going to have deficiencies. And we're trying to maximize that and figure out how we can get those nutrients in there. But it's better to just test rather than to guess. So what we can do is we can test your child and find out, or an adult with this, and we can find out specifically what nutrients are deficient and make sure that we balance that out. Balancing that out can help the body function fully and normally. The nervous system in our body requires certain nutrients in order to respond properly to the environment around us. The other thing that we know research is showing is links and ties between food dyes, food additives, and other kinds of food sensitivities that many of us don't even know or aren't aware that we have an issue with it, because the type of response we get are things like ADHD or hyperactivity. And it's very confusing to think that taking in a food dye or a food, something that we're sensitive to, could have that type of response. But it's similar to the concept of giving your kid sugar and making them hyper. It doesn't technically do that, but if our bodies aren't functioning fully or functioning correctly, it may appear that way. So what we do is we test. We find out what kinds of things in the body might be deficient, but we also test for those dyes, any kind of food sensitivities that they may have, or even food additives, things that we don't even recognize and aren't even on the label. But we can recognize as something that might be causing our kids or adults irritation and causing this abnormal response. The third thing that we can test for is heavy metal toxicities. We all know that our body and our environment, even our cars driving by, those types of things can cause us to have an overload of toxins. And those toxins affect our nervous system, which will then affect how our body responds to our normal environment. So naturally, if we have too much hanging on inside of our body, then what we need to do is make sure that we do the proper steps in order to cleanse the body of that. And we at Kansas City Functional Medicine can then customize and help you, guide you in the right direction and coach you in making sure that you have the best potential to heal.